Hello everyone, it's Quest Quenchers here today, and I want to do a quick video of my review on Starfield. So I have made so many scripts for this video, going down how it could have been better, rewriting it and changing it up, and ultimately it comes down to my opinion of the game isn't very... It's an okay game. I'd say probably out of 10 it's about a 6. Maybe a 5. Mainly because some things within the game don't make sense to me. So, I am under the impression that Starfield takes place in our universe. So it's just a continuation to, down the line. And that, to me, seems like a cool concept. But unfortunately, how it's implemented in Starfield really doesn't immerse me within the game, unfortunately. Such as, there's no more, phones or anything. You can't contact anyone, via a mobile phone or by some sort of, augmentation in a way, which seems to make the game very, strange, I feel. Instead of like having a Mass Effect maybe comm hub on your ship somewhere, or like in Outer Worlds having like a little AI that handles all your messages and you get messages there and you could contact people from there. I feel like it's truly missing that kind of dynamic that our universe does have, or the internet and the ability to communicate with people from afar instead of just going, hey, completed that, return back to such and such. Instead of, you could be like, well, why don't I just have a call on my ship in my comm area? I could just call them up and have the quest done. And it's just, I do feel like it's so not together. It seems a lot of interesting ideas put together, but they're not very thought out, unfortunately. And I could list a ton of them, but at the same time, I've spent, like I said, about 4 scripts listing everything out, and it's just too much to read, and I feel like no one will watch that video. Maybe in a little while I'll do like a full critique and put like a few months work into it, getting it sort of done. But as for now, I think, as like I want to get a quick review out there, and I feel like Starfield is a 6 out of 10 for me. As for the world building, it's it's the level design and all that stuff. I think is great. The all the effort, the graphic designers and all that stuff brought into the the meshes, the texturing and all that stuff, I think is great. I like what I'm seeing. It looks very realistic. To me, like within like, oh yeah, I could see people having this architecture and stuff. I like the designs and stuff like that. Like I think that's great. Where Starfield is let down is the writing. The writing and the sort of the character writing too. It's just kind of like it's not fully there. It's not fully interesting. The quests to go here, shoot that, go here, collect that. There's not much, variation on that. Maybe there's 1 or 2 missions, but apart from that, the main quests and the faction quests are fairly straightforward, and the twists are fairly, easy to see, to be honest, especially within the UC. I feel like, oh yeah, of course, this guy is behind it all. Yeah, that's just so boring. And then nothing happens. He doesn't have any ulterior ways to get out of, you turning him over and stuff. And it just seems very, anticlimactic kind of thing. There's no fight. There's no like, oh, he's taken over the UC government or, anything like that. It's just a, fairly boring quest, in all honesty. It's go here, collect this, go here, collect that. And it's really lacking a major hook. Like, there's no, like, terrible thing that's gonna happen. There's just go here, collect the artifacts. There's no real danger. You have the Starborn, oh, it's killed one of your members. Yeah, and stuff like that. And then they sort of back away instead of it being a hunt. I feel like, well, if the hunter was actively like pursuing us and stuff like that, it might have been better or something like that. Like I made a video about the Starborn and what I thought about him, and you know, go and have a look at that video if you're interested in what I think the Starborn should have been doing. But unfortunately, it just lost it. It lost it for me, unfortunately. And it's quite annoying. Like it's really the annoying part is it has such a potential, such a potential to be great, but its world just keeps on taking me out. The loading screens, the menus. It really should have been, oh, you pull up your watch, you know, and you see the little menu within your watch. So it's like, oh, I'm just, you know, and it's not pausing time anymore. I feel like that would have been better. Like, oh, you pull up a watch, you change your stuff whilst people walk around and stuff, and that's what, you know, you don't get that pause that you get in Fallout when you look at your Pip-Boy. Whereas you just have it on your watch, and you can just lift it up, look at it, and stuff like that. And I think that would have been more connecting still, instead of going into menus and stuff. And then there's just the, you know, the world exploration, or is rather, you know, you do it a few times, and you're like, oh, this is cool. But then it's immediately, well, not immediately, but eventually it gets like, oh, I've seen this planet about 50 times, I think. It's another moon rock with nothing on it really, and it's a bit boring. As well as other planets, they have like a little bit more life, but then you see repeating life. Like, wait, you were on the other place I went to, so it's like, oh, okay. I know it's a game, so it's like it can't be continually changing, and it is procedural generated, but I don't think that's the way Bethesda really should have gone with Starfield. I think it should have been a you know, a few planets that are, you know, the main hubs that are very decked out and have your most things going on. There might have been a conflict. I mean, it just seems like observing the history of the UC and stuff, it's just like, why, you know, of the UC and the Freestar Collective and House of Runes, like, why are we in the boring times when maybe you should put like a story within the war times, maybe, you know. And it just seems rather, you know, oh, you've built up all this, you know, interesting history, but nothing's happening right now that's interesting with the factions. I feel it's just like, oh yeah, the, you know, the Terramorph issue, the interaction between both of the Freestar Collective and the, you know, the UC is just like you know, it's not much. It's like no hostility. Yeah, it's still like hot, you know, kind of. It makes it feel like, but there's no like conflicts anywhere. You know, I mean, there is the Freestar Collective that you know, the first, I think they're called like the First or something like that. But it's not really much. Whereas I think, you know, probably setting it in a you know, in a galaxy that's war-torn between the UC and the Freestar Collective, and you have to make a choice. You know, a bit like Skyrim. I know it's like probably repeating stuff, but fully, you know, making, you know, maybe just something a little bit more with, you know, what do you call it? Not dread, but it's like, oh, there's a hook to keep going, to, oh, you've got to get this, you got to, oh, you know, before the other guys get it. And maybe even have been the scenarios where, oh, the other guys won, kind of thing. You know, oh, won that mission. We failed it because we weren't fast enough. And I think it's it does need a lot of, you know, it just like times off the essence kind of thing. You know, even though it's like a made up thing within Skyrim and Fallout 4, it still was like, oh yeah, I better do that now. But in Starfield, there isn't really anything to be afraid of. Even the Starborn just get boring. Like, oh, I completed a temple, and then it's time to shoot a Starborn with one shot. There we go, done. And it's really not good. It's really, especially the temples, are just terrible, and the powers and stuff just feel tacked on. And then the outpost system just seems very blatantly boring. it's like, why am I making an outpost to get resources when I could just go to the shop and get resources? And I'm always getting credits, like I'm completing missions, and if I'm short of few credits, I can just do, another, um, quest on the side, and it just seems very. It just doesn't seem well put together, as well as missing features, which I've made another video, so you can have a look in the comments, not the comments, have a look in the description below if you want to watch more videos of what I've said about Starfield. But yeah, this is sort of my review on it. I'm not touching like a lot on things, because I think a lot of people have explained it already, and I'm fairly slow to the review stage. But it just doesn't work for me, and I'm actually very struggling to keep playing on my my current Let's Play. I feel it's like, oh, I have to do this? I'm just kind of bored of it, which isn't good, because I have been playing it sort of off stream and off recording and stuff, and seeing what's happened and stuff, and then I'm just like, that wasn't what I was expecting, nor was it as good as what I wanted it to be. So yeah, it's hard to keep the series going, but I will complete the. I think once I've done the probably the Crimson Fleet and get and that, I will head probably to the buried sort of temple and stuff like that and complete it, and then I probably will not touch Starfield until the DLC comes out or until the creation kit comes out, because I know mods are going to be probably fantastic and help the game, but at the same time I feel like the base game isn't all there, and I think DLC can do a little bit to help it, but I think there's, like I said, there's communications, like mobile phones, the internet and all that stuff, the entertainment, it's all kind of gone from the worlds, and it's just like, yeah, I'm not really, I'm not immersed enough, and there's not enough here. Like, I can understand it in Skyrim, I could understand it in Fallout, but in this world, I can't really understand it that much, and it's difficult to keep my head from not noticing those kind of things. Like, oh, I've got to go back there now and talk to that person instead of just calling up on the comms. So it's it's not very good for me in that kind of aspect of the world building and the quest design. I just think it feels like it needed more time and a overall narrative designer in some way. I think what, the people who've kind of wrote the story, I don't think they thought it through enough. And the lore, I feel like, is a bit lacking, and ultimately it just falls a bit short. That's why it's sort of a 6 out of 10 for me. Which is a shame. I've never rated a Bethesda game so low. I think within my sort of hierarchy of games, they're always up there, really good. So it's quite surprising. I mean, it did start going a bit lower with like Fallout 4, and then Fallout 76 was just terrible, and then Starfield is better than Fallout 76 for sure. It's there isn't the online aspect and all that stuff, so it is better, but unfortunately it is lacking in with a few in the main departments. Now, just thinking quickly, I just want to discuss the sort of weaponry. This is another place that I didn't really like. The ballistic weapons, there's so many of them that they're good. Some of them, don't make sense, like how with this fire kind of thing. And then the laser weapons, like there's only like 3, and it's a bit like, oh, okay, there's only 3 laser weapons, but there's like a million ballistic weapons. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, so there's, you don't really want to get stuck with the laser weapons because you don't get much change out of it, so there's no real point in using laser weapons. You may as well, I mean, unless you're in 0G, but even then I still use like the mag shear or something, or the what do you call it, the A99. It's just, seems to be lacking. It does. I am really confused with the game, and I feel like people have dropped it quite quickly, which is a right shame. Like Bethesda games usually like, oh yeah, this is what I've been looking forward to all year, and now I'm just like, I'm really kind of bored of it. I'm not, I just want Elder Scrolls 6 instead, which I thought was I mean, I'm hoping it will be good, but I'm not too sure with what we've been presented. But I think Bethesda are better at fantasy games than what they're doing with sci-fi games right now, which is really unfortunate because I was really excited for Starfield and I thought they would do a great job, and it's a big shame that it doesn't work properly. By work properly, I mean like it doesn't take me out. It doesn't give me proper escapism, like whilst Skyrim does. I'm running around this world. Oh, this is great, kind of thing. And same with Fallout 4, but actually Starfield doesn't. It really doesn't work, unfortunately. Um, which is a shame. I think it should have been put together differently, but unfortunately, it's not. It's not working for me, and I'm probably, like I said earlier, I'm going to finish off the Let's Play, and then I'm not going to touch it till the DLC, because I was one of those silly people that got it a bit earlier. So yeah, that's sort of my video on my Starfield review. It's an okay game. You can put like maybe 100 hours into it to like get your money's worth of, like, especially if you paid like 86, 85 quid for it, get 200 hours, and then you could be like, all right, I've played it. It wasn't the greatest game they made, but it's still like, okay, that's fine. I've got 200 hours of, escapism and some fun there. But yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend it for, to be played at, to be paid for at that price. Unfortunately, usually like with Bethesda games, like, yes, get it. It was really fun. But yeah, they've kind of dropped the ball on this one, and it's quite unfortunate. And with with some people leaving Bethesda now, like some writers and quest designers and stuff, it's a bit like, oh dear, But maybe it is a good thing to get. Maybe get some new writers in, making something fresh for Elder Scrolls 6. Just not too crazy, but like still. The game elements need to be there that we expect from games now. Decisions that are not just flavor text that lead to the same lines from the same characters. It needs to be, more meaningful choices and, different variations upon text. I think they put too much effort into the persuasion tree kind of thing. I think eventually that's where most of their text went. And it really should have been built on decisions and different lines from different characters. I mean, like, an unfair comparison is Baldur's Gate, I suppose, Baldur's Gate 3, as they've done, like, an amazing sort of story design. It's just a shame that I really don't like the combat and sort of that thing, and the top-down effect of it, unfortunately. So I can't really get fully into the game, but it's a good game. I'll have to finish it soon. But yeah, that's my review on Starfield. 6 out of 10. And I don't recommend it until it's on sale or something. And yeah, that's it's really horrible to say. I mean, this video is no hate at all, but it could have been better. It should have been better, considering it's in, and production for 8 years. So yeah, that's really unfortunate to say that, but I do hope they have more of a vision for Elder Scrolls 6. They have more of an idea of what they're going to do, and they need to think about a lot of things in that world to make it like believable and stuff, and I believe they can. I think they will. Hopefully they don't do too much procedural generation. I think that's one thing that lets Starfield down. But yeah, I mean, there are good things like the shipbuilding. I like that. Some quests are fun, and but unfortunately, there's a whole lot of that's lacking, unfortunately. So yeah, that's my review. I will see you next time in another Let's Play video of Starfield. I'll try and get through it. I'll grit my teeth and just get through it. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.